Are we going? We're going. How are we doing tonight, ladies and gentlemen? Hope you've all had a fantastic Friday or Thursday night, Wednesday morning, whatever it may be. Yeah, so tonight I'm heading to a club meeting for racing, and while I was on my way there I thought I might discuss something with you guys. So there's a big heated argument, let's call it, in the motorbike community, where one side says you should start on a 600 and the other side says you should not. I am personally on team don't start on a 600. Now there's a lot of variables that go into everyone's, you know, decision with, you know, starter bikes. You know, experience, age, budget, price, all that other stuff. But here's my opinion. Like, everyone's entitled to their opinion, doesn't mean it's right or wrong. But here's my opinion on why I don't think you should start on a 600. Right off the bat, 600cc sports bikes are race bikes. There's no other way to say it. 600cc sports bikes are race bikes. They're aggressive, they're very committed seating positions, but they are fast. That's the thing people forget about them. They are very fast. I'll use a personal experience as an example here. A couple weekends ago on the racetrack, there was a gentleman on a Panigale V4. He hit 270k an hour on the main straight. I hit 255 on a 600. Alright? 600s are quick. And the other thing with starting on a 600 too, especially for when you know you're just getting your license, you're new, riding around town on a 600 sucks, because they're a screaming inline 4 engine getting all the power at the top, which means to have any sort of fun you need to be wringing its neck. You need to be absolutely committed to the full send, and at that point you're at higher risk for injuries, death, and, you know, loss of license, fines, jail time, all that other stuff. Like, obviously you don't have to go fast, but if you want to use your bike's potential, you have to do it. And on the streets, it just is not worth it. Yeah, but like, with that being said, not every country even allows you to start on a 600 as well. Like, this argument mainly exists in America, so, you know, but most countries have like a beginner bike system, or in Australia we have LAMS, Learner Approved Motorcycle Scheme, that stands for. In my state, in Queensland, Australia, we have to hold a learner license for 3 months. So how you get your learner license is you do a 2-day pre-learner course, which is theory and practice on like a learner pad, and then at the end you go for a group ride, you get your learners. So for 3 months you have to ride a LAMS approved motorcycle with a shadow or someone supervising you that holds a valid license. But with LAMS approved motorcycles in Australia, they have to be, I don't know the exact specifics in terms of, you know, power to weight and everything, but a general rule of thumb is 660cc or less. But that also has a power to weight thing in it too, so you can't, you know, go get an R6 or even like an old 252 stroke, because the power to weight ratio is too high to be considered LAMS approved. How I get around that by having a CBR 650 is, in Australia and a lot of European markets as well, the CBR 650, the R7, all those, you know, middleweight sports bikes and naked bikes are actually factory restricted. So in the case of my CBR, you have a crazy electronic restriction on these things. It takes it from, let's call it 95 horsepower from the factory in Honda down to 47 horsepower, which is right on the LAMS approved limit in Australia, which is crazy, because I'm going to say I did this on a racetrack. This thing, my CBR 650, lost a drag race to a Ninja 400 because of how restricted they are. But as soon as you de-restrict it, you get all of those ponies. So that's how you get around having those. This particular model, the 650 inline 4, because it's restricted. And another thing too, in Australia, having a modified exhaust on your bike on paper turns it into a big bike. I don't understand that logic, but anyway, back to my point. Starting on a 600 doesn't work for anyone. Well, not anyone, sorry, I should rephrase. Doesn't work for everyone. Let's go back to the American market for a while here. To my knowledge, now you guys correct me in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong, but to my knowledge, in America, you can go past your MSF course and get whatever bike you want. Now, obviously, as I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. By that logic, the American government thinks that someone who's never ridden a motorcycle before can go get their license and go buy a Hayabusa. That's, in my opinion, you know, as I said before, my opinion doesn't mean I'm right, just my thoughts. I think that's really stupid. The Hayabusa was the king shit of speed until the H2 came out. Like, everyone knows what a Hayabusa is. But I don't think a new rider should be allowed to ride one. That's crazy, because it's all good and well being, you know, Fireblade. It's all good and well being able to ride a motorbike fast on a track and everything, but when you get on the road, you have traffic, you have random oil spills, you have animals, you have police, you have all of these other variables and uncontrollable things against you. Like, you have to ride on the road as if every car is a hired assassin out to kill you. It's very risky. But as I've said a million times before, don't be a muppet. Keep your wits around you and you'll be okay. With that being said, if you've been riding motorbikes your whole life, like, you know, you grew up on land, you grew up on dirt bikes, whatever, if you're comfortable with it, sure, go get a 600 if your licensing rules allow you to do that. Like I would have if I was allowed to, because I've been riding motorbikes since before I could walk. I would have gone and gotten a 600, but I'm not allowed to. In saying that, I'm glad I didn't. 600s are freaking fast. So I think a good beginner motorcycle for, well, honestly anyone, if you're looking for a beginner sports bike, I should say, if you want a naked bike or something like that, I'd probably go with like a, I don't really know too many of the naked bikes, but a beginner sports bike, if you want to live that squid life, I would go get a CF Moto 450 SS, or, oh, sorry, an SR, or SS if you're American, a KTM RC390, or an R3, or a Ninja 400. Any of those four, you're going to have a good time. Now, obviously, if you ride it a lot, you're going to get bored of the power and want something faster. Fair enough. That's when you jump up to your 600s. Or if you're confident, you're comfortable, and it's safe and viable to do so, go get your 1000cc, which is what I will be doing at the end of this year. I will be replacing my girl Stacy with a 1000cc. Like, because personally, I'm ready to have that sort of power. Like, you know, I race. I'm not being cocky or anything, but I can do it. But that's not going to be the case for everyone. Not everyone has had as much seat time as like someone like myself. Some people ride once a week, some people ride once a month even. Then you get the crazy people like me that ride every day. So I'm definitely ready to have that power, but as I said, that's not everyone. Oh, there's oil on the road. That's dangerous. But yeah, like, I'm not here, who am I to say, oh, you can start on a 600? Who am I to say you can't start on a 600? It's not my call, obviously. Who am I? I'm just some average squid, or, you know, an above average squid. Just some average guy in Australia you know, living his best life, riding motorbikes and having some fun. But, you know, I've sort of got a little bit of a following on TikTok, 16,500 followers. I know that's a small number to some, but for me, that's a number I never thought I'd achieve. So I'm going to use that, well, to me, massive platform, but in the big ocean of, you know, TikTokers, my little platform, I'm going to use, you know, that voice to try and help people understand the do's and don'ts of motorbikes. And that just comes from personal experience, you know, on-road, off-road. I see a WR and an S1000 RR over there. Ooh, very nice. I actually know that guy on that S1000 too. Very nice bike. Anyway, like, my opinions do have some sort of education behind them. For those who don't know, I was actually a motorcycle salesman for a while, and it was literally my job to put people on the right bike for them. Yep, that's who it is. Thought it was. Nice. It was literally my job. So when I turn around and when I go out and say, oh, I wouldn't recommend doing this, or I would recommend doing that, that's not just some thought I've had. That comes from experience, and that's a professional opinion. That's professional advice. So obviously take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm not bloody motorbike Jesus. That's Valentino Rossi. But all I'm trying to do is help people. But yeah, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I hope I've helped someone make an informed decision, or hopefully made someone laugh. I don't know. I don't think I've said anything funny, but if I have, great. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers, people.